Okay, so our topic for today will be the final part ng inyong fluid mechanics. This is Bernoulli Principle. Okay? The Bernoulli Principle. Okay, dito natin ginagamit dito yung yung naituro ko sa inyo na continuity equation. Okay? Yung mass flow in is equal to mass flow out. Ganyan. So, define muna natin, ano ba yung Bernoulli Principle? Sir, yan po yung sa DE. Yes? Pero pagdating ng fluid mechanics, it is more on the energy equation. It is the energy of fluid flowing into a pipe per unit time passing any upstream section, and is the same as the energy per unit time passing in downstream section plus the loss of head. Okay? The loss of head between two sections. So, ibig sabihin, ano po ba yung head? Hindi natin malaman kung ano yan, di ba? Hindi pa dinidefine sa atin. Ibig ko sabihin dyan, from your continuity equation, that whatever mass na that will go inside a system of pipes will come out with the same mass it went in without considering any losses, any leak. Ibig sabihin yung pipe mo is perfectly made without any leaks, any losses. Now, this is the entire Bernoulli Energy Equation, okay? That yung energy in is equal to energy out. Ibig sabihin, your fluid contains what? Different types of energy. A stored energy is simply defined as potential energy. This is the stored energy in the fluid. And it is greatly affected by the displacement of the fluid. Displacement, anong ibig sabihin sa displacement? Hindi po yan yung Q. Yan yung kanyang taas, yung height. Okay? On where it came or where it will fall. Nandyan din yung kinetic energy. 'Di ba meron tayong sinabi diyan na flowing fluid. Your flowing fluid contains a moving an energy, okay? When it is moving. And that is kinetic. Yung kinetic energy na 'yan, okay? That kinetic energy is affected with the speed that your fluid is flowing. Ibig sabihin, velocity. And then ano pa ang kino-contain ng isang fluid? Siyempre, pressure. Meron tayong fluid pressure. Okay? Other than potential and kinetic, it contains pressure energy. Okay? And that is P. Okay? The static pressure of the fluid at the cross-section. Yung pipe mo, okay, i-define ko mamaya. Yung pipe mo, from inlet to outlet, nag-iiba yan ng sizes. Nag-iiba ng cross-section. Okay? Maybe it is, yung sinabi ko sa inyo, sa continuity, nag-ano tayo ng nozzles doon, di ba? Continuity equation, ayan, may nozzles tayo. Okay? This is your sa continuity. Yan. Sa continuity equation, meron kang nozzles. Okay? You went in as M1, you will go out as M1. Constant ang mass and then constant din ang flow. Whatever is changing there is the area of the flow. Okay? And from continuity equation, meron tayong equation dito that the mass flow of your system is equal to area times the velocity, or tama, velocity and then density, AVP. Check na natin dun. Ay, area. Ano ba unit ng area? Okay? That is m squared. Yung velocity, meter squared, meter per second. The density is kilogram per meter cube. Oh, ayan, no? Ma-cancel out natin tong units na to. Ayan. So, ibig sabihin, the mass flow is in kilogram per second. Ayan. For continuity equation, we resort with this. The flow is constant throughout the system. And the flow simply is Q equal to A multiplied to V. What is A? That is the area of cross-section. And then V is what? That is the velocity that your fluid is moving. Now, nag-iiba yung cross-section natin base dito, di ba? You look at this figure. Meron kang A1 and V1. Meron kang A2 and V2. What will happen if your flow from a big section cross-sectional area to a small cross-sectional area? Babagal ba yung fluid mo? Anong nangyari ba dun? Babagal ang fluid mo? Ano? Sige nga, di ba pag pinalit mo yung butas sa isang bagay, pero the same pa rin yung ine-exert niya, bumibilis yung fluid? Ibig sabihin, this is a converging nozzle. It converges into a tip or into an exit area. Now, kapag pabaliktad naman yung iyong flow, ang tawag dyan, that is a diverging. Kumbaga sa traffic, papaluwag yung traffic mo. Kumbaga dito naman, pag converging, your traffic will what? Join into one small section. Yan. Going back here, okay? Meron na tayo equation dyan. Now, yung area, if this is the cross-sectional area of a piping system, since a pipe is circular in area, that is pi over 4 d1 squared. You multiply it with the v1. Okay? And then pi over 4 d2 squared multiplied to v2. Now, cancel the same units. That is pi over 4. You will arrive with this. d1 squared v1 equal to d2 squared v2. So, sir, anong ibig mo sabihin dyan? Okay, tignan mo. That pwede mo palang gamitin itong equation na ito. Okay? Nakaderive ka na isa equation para makuha mo yung missing between them. Minsan, ang missing dyan is the cross-sectional area or the size of the pipe or even the velocity. Ngayon, going back here. Yan. Tayo sa gilid. Yan. We have space, di ba? Now, meron pa isang equation, di ba? Expand natin tong Q na ito. That is equal to pi over 4d squared. Tama ba? Commonly, kapag Bernoulli Theorem, always given itong Q. And then given yung what? Given yung velocity. Any of the two, hinahanap dyan. It's either the size or the velocity. How will you do it? Pagpunta mo ng calculator, mamaya papakita ko sa inyo. Pwedeng ganito ang solving niya. If you want to find the velocity of the flow, all you have to do is to make this equation, 4q over pi d squared. Now, if you want to get naman yung yung size of the pipe or the diameter of the pipe, all you have to do is to use this equation, 4q over pi v. Itong dalawan to. Key equations natin to para mapabilis. Pabibilisin natin yung calculation pagdating sa iyong what? Sa iyong calculator para isahang pindutan lang, hindi ka tumatagal sa calculation. Ang ginukuha lang naman natin dito pagdating ng ating Bernoulli's Principle is always the head, the total head of your flow. Yun kasi yung kailangan natin i-determine in order for you to get whatever the size of your pump. Ano po bang ibig ko sabihin sa size? The power that your pump requires. Okay? Now, going back to the Bernoulli equation. By energy in, energy out equation, okay? Diba? Energy in is equal to energy out. Under the laws of thermodynamics, that energy can never be created nor destroyed, but it can only be transformed from one form to another. Okay, that alam nyo yun. So, by Bernoulli's Principle, you have P1 plus, okay, dito kasi nagmula yan. Okay, class? Look at this. Okay? Your Bernoulli's Principle came from this equation. Okay? From the transfer of potential energy and kinetic energy plus the pressure. Okay? the pressure. Yan, pressure yan. That is constant. Diyan nagmula yan. Okay? Tingnan natin. Yan. The static pressure of the fluid at the cross-section, ibig sabihin non-moving. And then, rho is density. Okay? G is the acceleration due to gravity. V is the mean velocity of fluid at a cross-section. And then H, the elevation head. Elevation head. Ibig sabihin, that is potential energy. Nasaan po ang potential energy dyan? Recall. Okay, going back here. Your potential energy simply from physics is equal to mgh. How about the kinetic energy? Oh, kinetic energy came from this. 1/2 mv squared. That is kinetic energy. Sir, ang pressure natin, di ba pinag-usapan natin that the pressure is equal to D. Dinerive ko yan noong nakaraang mga meeting. That is equal to D, gamma H. What is gamma? That is the specific weight of your fluid, which is water commonly. And then H is the height where the fluid came from. Okay. Going back. Sabi dito, by definition, Bernoulli's theorem is based on the conservation of energy in fluid flow. The conservation of energy in fluid flow. Ayun nga, diniscuss ko. Diba? That the flow of the fluid is constant throughout your piping. There are 3 types of energy, namely, 1, potential, sinabi ko na. Kinetic, i-derive ko na. And then, the pressure energy, where I derive it using our hydrostatic force, diba? And then, the area of the cross-section ng mga nakaraang meetings natin. Well, simply, the theorem explains how these energies change from one form to another. O, sinabi ko, diba? The law of thermodynamics. Many instruments, such as the phytotube, the venturimeter, ano pa? Ano may matinuro ko sa inyo? Yung measuring equipment, ano? What? Barometer? Differential manometer? Oh, di ba? Ano pa? Ano pa yung tinuro ko sa inyo? Piezometer? Di ba? All of them. Kaya tinuro ko sa inyo yung fluid measurement using those system. Now, the Bernoulli Theorem states that in a steady ideal flow without any interruption of incompressible fluid. What is incompressible fluid? A fluid that you cannot compress, like water. The sum of pressure energy, kinetic energy, and potential energy remains constant at every section. Hindi nagbabago. Okay? Provided no energy is added or taken out by an external source. It is based on the principle of conservation of energy and is expressed by the following relations. Ayan, pinasimple ko na kanina. The potential energy, the kinetic energy, and then the pressure energy. Ito pala. Burahin natin to. Pressure na lang to. Ayun. Potential energy. Pressure na lang yan. The assumption, okay? We have 4 assumptions pagdating ng Bernoulli Equation. Since it is a theorem, it holds well under the following assumptions. Okay. The flow is along a streamline. Okay? Meron kang sinusunod na definite streamline. Number 2, it is steady and continuous. No hampering or no external forces or no external applied forces ang mag-iimpede ng flow. Number 3, the fluid is non-viscous. Ibig sabihin, kasi ang fluid kapag viscous, nagbabago-bago ng flow yan. Depende sa kanyang viscosity, kinematic or dynamic or static viscosity. And incompressible. Incompressible. So mostly, we are talking about water. Where density is constant. And flow is irrotational. Hindi nababago-bago. Okay? Iisa lang ang flow niyan. And in order for you to understand it fully, I have here a diagram. Okay? This is the entire diagram ng Bernoulli Equation. Yan. So, from this boundary up to this boundary, we say we cut a pipe into certain sections. where one section is converging to other, ayan, where height changes from one point to the second point, and then the pressure differences is measured, we can get the following assumptions. But may kulang ito. Always may kulang dyan. What is the lacking dito? What is lacking? We lack the head losses. Head losses. And the head loss, even sa inyong suction to discharge, the same. You will just add it to the system. Now, if you are given tatlong points, okay, tatlong key points kung saan i-determine mo yung pressure energy, yung velocity energy, or yung kinetic energy, and then potential energy, we can have this equation. Ngayon, sinimplify na yan. Okay, sinimplify na yan. In order for you to measure the different heads na meron tayo. Okay? I-divide na natin siya ng gravity. Now, tignan nyo ha. Kunin ko ito dito. Dito natin siya i-compute. Yan, dito natin siya i-compute. Yan. Now, diba dito tayo nagmula? Yung, ito nyo ito yung pressure energy plus potential energy P1, potential energy 1 plus K E1 plus head loss 1 equal to P2 plus PE2 plus KE2 plus head loss 2. Now, pagsasamahin ba natin? Hindi. Kailangan muna natin silang i-simplify. Mamaya natin tignan kung anong uri ng head loss ito. Okay? Let's just leave it behind. So, P. For equation ng P, di ba ginawa ko ganito? Rho. Ay, hindi. This is gamma H plus 1. Tapos PE, potential energy, mgh. Tanggalin na natin yung mass. Tanggalin ko na yung mass ha. Unit mass parati yan. Yan. GH1. Yan. Excuse. Plus KE. That is 1/2. 1/2 V squared. Tanggalin ko yung V. Yung M. 1/2 V squared. Plus head loss. 1 equal to plus i-leave behind muna natin to ha. Huwag natin sama to pag ginawa natin yung dulo. Okay. So, i-divide ko both sides. Ito i-disregard muna natin to. Disregard muna natin. Ito, saka ito. I-disregard ko lang muna. Isama ko mamaya. So, we will have to multiply it with 1 over G or divide all sides with G. Okay? Or simply, ito kasi, yan yun, no? Ito. Di ba ito is rho G? Di ba? Tama ba? Hello? Di ba? Yung pressure mo. Okay? Simply, going back here, okay? May ganito. P over rho G plus H. Diba? Dito H na lang. Kasi may G ka na. Or multiply mo ng G. Okay? Plus V squared over V1 2G squared equal to P1 ito 2 rho G plus H1, H2 plus V2, 2G squared. Now, ito yung naging equation niya dyan. Tignan nyo. Pero ito, commonly, pinapalitan natin to ng Z para hindi tayo nalilito. Okay? And then, isimplify natin to simply P1 over yung specific weight plus V1 squared over 2G plus Z1 equal to P2 over yan, yung specific weight plus Z2 plus V2 squared over 2G. Sir, saan po mapupunta yung head loss? Now, the head loss, add mo na lang sa dulo parate. Head loss from the point 1 to 2. Okay. Ayan na, nasa dulo. This is now the equation for Bernoulli. Yan. Ganyan natin mini-measure yan. Now, we have keynotes here. Okay, we have keynotes. Go to your diagram. Okay. On your diagram, makikita mo H1, H2. Okay? Meron yan. Pag dinagtungan na natin siya ng pump. Okay. Yan. So, meron tayong diagram dito. Meron kang H. Ni-determine pa rin natin dito. If this is your pump center line or datum line, and this is your suction and discharge, yun nandito, we are given a height here, which is ZS. Meron kang ZD. And then, meron ka dito pressure. Okay? Pressure dyan, measurement. And then, meron ka rin dito pressure measurement. You have the size 1, diameter 1. Meron ka dito diameter 2. Ano pa ang kukuhanin natin dyan? You have a flow. Okay. Dito. Na isusupply ng iyong pump. Now, may mabubuo tayo dito na equation. Tignan mo ha. We have an equation here. Take note of this. Take note of this. Take note of this. Yan. If your pump, if your suction, okay, the pressure at suction is vacuum, okay, it is vacuum. Vacuum. If that is vacuum, we can say that it is negative, okay? Negative pressure yan. Negative. And if your suction is below the pump center line, it is negative. Tandaan nyo ito. Mahalaga ito sa pag-solve. Yan. Sir, hindi ko makuha. Let us see. Itong form na ito, tignan natin ha. Tignan natin kung ano yung madiderive natin dito. Hanapin natin yung total head nung magiging pump natin. What will be the total head? Now, from here, hatiin natin sa dalawa. Okay? Suction and discharge side. If you have pressure at suction, divide mo nung nung iyong gamma plus yung V1 squared over 2G. Now, the dilemma here, hindi natin alam si V1. Ang nagbigay lang is Q. Diba? Going back, yung Q mo, inaalam natin. It is equal to AV, diba? O, yan, AV. Inahanap natin si velocity. Mamaya, pasimplihin natin yan. Plus, yung ZS, plus head loss 1, equal to P discharge over gamma plus V, S na lang to. S. Okay? S na lang to. Suction eh. VD over 2G squared plus ZD plus head loss at discharge. Now, i-determine natin to. Commonly class, your head losses are two types. Okay? We have two head losses dyan. Yung head losses natin is commonly friction head. Okay? Friction head or head loss due to friction. Kapag binigay sa problem, it has a coefficient of friction, walang dinetermine na kung anong galing sa anong table, automatic, that is the head loss ng Darcy. What is Darcy? Okay? Yung head loss ng Darcy. Ang head loss ng Darcy equation is F. Ayan, the coefficient of friction, the length of the pipe, multiplied to the velocity of the flow, FLV squared over 2G or gravity, local gravity, times the diameter of the pipe. That is for Darcy. If in-specify that your coefficient of friction came from the Morse table, you will have to use the Morse equation. Okay, what is the Morse equation? Ganito lang yan, no? HL. Ilagay mo lang yung 2 sa taas, yun na yun. 2 FLV squared over GD. Commonly, pag hindi binanggit, binigay lang yung may coefficient of friction ka, ito kagad gagamitin mo. Pag in-specify that your coefficient of friction came from the Morse table, matik, Morse ang gagamitin mo. Okay? Now, that is for the head loss or the friction loss. Now, for the total head of the pump, head total. Okay? Pagsama-samahin mo lahat sila sa isang sulok. Okay? This is PD minus PS over the gamma plus yung VD squared minus VS squared over 2G plus ZD minus ZS plus the head loss on suction to discharge. O, yan yun. I-add mo lang naman. Ano ba yun? Head loss. Head loss ng discharge, add mo lang yan parehas. Plus mo sa head loss ng suction. Ayan. I-add mo yan. Kasi yan yung nahabulin ng system mo. The total head loss nahabulin ng system mo. Now, pag ganitong case class, ano mayayari? Add mo ba yan or ima-minus mo? Ang sinabi dito, sinabi dyan, ZS is negative if the source is below the pump center line. Ibig sabihin, negative, okay? Negative. That your ZS is minus tapos negative ZS. Yan, magiging positive to. So, ang kalalabasan yan is ZD plus ZS. Bakit sir nangyari? Ang paliwanag dyan, ganito. The explanation there is, yan yung hahabulin ng pump mo na head. Okay? Yung inakyat niya at yung iakyat pa niya. That will be in total. If this is below pump center line, ibig sabihin negative. Okay? If yung reservoir mo naman nandito sa taas, ZS, or the suction mo nandito sa taas, yan, ibig sabihin pa ganun, that is ZS, positive. Okay? Positive. Pag positive yan, okay, tukhang. Hindi, joke lang. Ang gagawin dyan, ZS, ZD, minus, plus, ZS. Kasi nasa taas yan ng pump center line. Ibig sabihin, yung HZ mo is ganito. Magiging ZD minus ZS. If below the pump center line, yung HZ mo will become ZD minus ZS. O, edi ganito mangyari, ZD plus ZS. Simple, ang paliwanag lang kasi dyan, yan yung total na head na iaakit ng inyong pump. Okay? Suction and then discharge. Kapag nasa taas na, kailangan mo pa bang iakyat yon? Hindi na, kasi ima-minus mo na lang yon dun sa magiging discharge mo. Pababa na yan eh. Let the gravity do the pushing alone. Okay? Yun yung paliwanag doon. So, we have the total for, ayusin ko lang yung sa head total nyo. For the total head that you need in order to get the size of the pump or the power of the pump or the power that your motor will exert on your pump given that the pump is efficient, 100% efficient. It is the total, total head is equal to this one. PD minus PS over gamma plus VD squared minus VS squared over 2G plus ZD minus ZS plus head loss 1 plus head loss 2. Head loss 2. Ayan. This is now the total dynamic head of the pump. That is for the head determination. Okay? Now, if suction naman, sir, meron ba kayong dyan? Meron ba kayong notes dyan pagdating ng suction sa pressure? Yan. Vacuum siya. Okay? Pag ito naman vacuum, PS is vacuum. Di ba negative? O, ito lang yan. Dali natin dito. If PS is vacuum dito, PS vacuum. Ganito lang. E di ang head mo sa pressure head, this is HP Pressure head is equal to PD given vacuum o di minus PS. Therefore, equal yan sa PD plus PS over gamma. O, sir, pag velocity head naman, ayan, pagtatalo-taluhin na natin. Velocity head, this is VD squared minus VS squared over 2G. Sir, di ba tinuro mo kung paano mo kukuha yung B? Di ba? Given yung Q. Oh, simplify natin. Oh, multiply mo ng 4Q over pi D. D ano to? DD squared. Oh, tapos naka-square. Minus 4Q over pi DS squared. Tapos squared over 2G. That is the velocity head. Ngayon, pag sama-samahin natin dito, lahat ng yan. Okay? Para isahang pindutan na lang. Okay? Paglagay sa calculator, alam ko kasya to. PD minus PS over gamma plus 4Q over pi D squared. Square natin minus 4Q. Gusto ko kasi, isang pindutan nyo lang sa calculator, lalabas na yung sagot. DS squared square over 2G plus ZD minus ZS plus head loss 1 plus head loss 2. Okay? Na yung ating final na ilalagay sa calculator. Yan. That is for Bernoulli equation. Notable notes. Okay? Notable notes. The density of water. What is the density of water? 1 kilogram per liter. 1,000 kilogram per cubic meter equal to 62.4 pound per feet cube. Yan. Okay? Notable notes. For pressure, ito na. Ulitin ulit natin. For pressure, 101.325 kPa is equal to 1 atm. Equal yan saan? Ilan? 1.033 kilogram per cm squared. 10.33 meters of H2O. 29.92 inches of Hg. Ilan? Ano pa? Ano pa nalilimutan ko dyan? 14.7 PSI. Ano pa? 760 torricellis equal to 760 millimeter Hg. May nalimutan pa ba ako? Wala na. So, yan na lang. Yan lang ang kailangan nyong alamin dyan. Kasi madalas kayo magko-convert here and then, saan pa? I think dito na lang yan eh. Okay. Tapos, ang Q commonly, Q is measured in gallons per minute. Oh. Sa gallons per minute, okay? Ito yung mga calculation natin dyan. 1 gallon, okay? 1 liter. 1 gallon. 3.785 liters. One cubic foot. 7.481 gallons. Yan lang. Ito lang tandaan nyo. Okay na yan. Wala na kayong ano dyan. Wala na kayong hirap dyan. Hindi na kayo hirap. Okay? Iba naman kasi dyan, pwede nyo lang kunin eh. Cube mo na lang. Ano pa? Ito, pag sinabing Qmex, what is Qmex? What is Qmex? This is cubic meter per second. Yan yun. Qmex is there. Pag LPS, what is LPS? Liters per second. LPM, ganun din yun, liters per minute. CFM, what is CFM? That is cubic foot per minute. CFS, cubic foot per second. Okay? Those are the keynotes na kailangan yung tandaan. Okay? I think that will be all for Bernoulli Theorem. Na-tackle out ko naman lahat. The note will come out after this. So, let us go with a 5-minute break. Okay? If you've got questions, feel free to ask after this discussion.